those watches and warnings. There are no coastal watches or warnings in effect. Discussion and outlook at 9 p.m. GMT 2100 UTC. The center of Tropical Storm Gaston was located near latitude 39.1 north, latitude 37.5 west. Gaston is moving toward the west near 10 miles an hour, 17 kilometers per hour, and a general west-to-west southwestward motion is expected until dissipation. Maximum sustained winds have decreased to near 45 miles an hour, 75 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Gradual weakening is forecast over the next few days, and Gaston is forecast to become a post-tropical tonight and dissipate entirely later this week. Tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 105 miles, 165 kilometers from the center. The estimated minimum central pressure is 1,000 millibars, 29.53 inches. Hazards affecting land surf. Swells generated by Gaston are expected to affect portions of the Azores though tonight. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. Next complete advisory at 3 a.m. GMT. Marine reports along the coast and offshore buoys. At the Sea Man site at Cedar Key. Winds were northwest at 5 knots. Air temperature 84 degrees. At the Sea Man site at Venice. Winds were north at 5 knots. Sea temperature 87 degrees. Air temperature 83 degrees. 100 miles west of Bayport, winds were from the northeast at 8 knots. Sea temperature 85 degrees. Air temperature 82. Wave heights 1 foot. Wave period 4 seconds. The report from 210 miles west of Captiva was not available. Your coastal waters forecast for the following marine location: Tampa Bay waters. Issued at 6:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Tonight, northeast winds 5 to 10 knots. Bay and inland.
Alrighty, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream here for today. We got ourselves some tropical weather coverage. Now, we have some breaking information straight off the bat here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys about this here in a second. And it's actually very concerning. There's two things I do want to discuss to you guys about in this latest information. Okay, let's go ahead and see who is here, obviously. Let's see here. First of all, Proxy already donating $35. Thank you so much. Really appreciated. Just now getting through here. Proxy, thank you so much for that. That's seriously so grateful of you. So nice. Thank you so much. I see Jenny and Courtney's here. Let's see Evan's here as well. Obviously, Proxy, thank you. Seriously, Proxy, for all the support. You did not have to do that. Spencer's here as well. Now, Evan, I want you to listen to this too. I don't know if you noticed the latest information, but let's just go ahead and jump on into it, because there's two things that I really want to discuss. Okay, there's two things that has really started kicking off right off the bat here. Let's see. Spencer has become a tropical stormer for the next 2 months. Big old shout out. Wow, you guys are seriously generous in the beginning of live stream here today. Thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciate it. Thumbs up goes to you guys. Everyone please give a thanks to Spencer and Proxy for that. Seriously, greatly appreciated. But anyways, but like I was saying here, we got ourselves a lot of information coming through here. Not necessarily the best information either. And I hate to say this to you. But here's the thing. So latest information we are seeing with the satellite imagery is obviously the circulation is pretty decently defined at this point, but look at this. Big old convective burst is really a CG, or sorry, not a CG, a CB is what I was going to say. So a big old convective burst, a big old burst of energy out of the storm of center is currently ongoing, and the hurricane hunters are inside the storm here. Now there's something that's a big problem. There is something that's a problem. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys here really quickly. Let's just go ahead and jump on over to it. So Evan says that he knows what it's about. Yeah, it's actually really crazy. So just a little bit ago, I need to actually update this. This was as of earlier. If you guys remember, 45 mile per hour sustained winds. I didn't change this on purpose. 45 mile per hour sustained winds. Last update was 1,003 millibars. We just got a new update. You ready? I'm going to go ahead and type it here. Down to 990. Sorry, I was wrong. 991 millibars. Right there. There we go. 991 millibars we're now talking about. That is a very, it's a big drop. A huge drop. Like I said, the hurricane hunters just got in there too. And also the miles per hour is now from 45 to 60. Let's go and see here. Let's see. We got ourselves. Lillian says. Or Lillian super chatted. Thank you so much for that. Been in 2 storms in Wisconsin. Been hiding out. Well, glad to have you here, Lillian. Thank you for that. Seriously, really appreciate it. Yeah, you guys are super generous today. Thank you, absolutely so much. You guys absolutely rock. Thank you for it. But here's the thing: the pressure went from 1,003 millibars to now 991, and also the wind speeds went from 45 to now 60 miles per hour. So the rapid intensification process has begun. It is now going to continue for the next few days, and the latest updates actually are a little bit more concerning. So here's the latest information, my friends. In regard to the latest information regarding the Hurricane Center and in regard to the models, as we're going to see here, the models have shifted east. That's not good. They shifted more to the east here. As you remember, that cone of uncertainty was actually including portions of a little sliver of Alabama, no longer there. And it looks like that cone of uncertainty has shifted more to the south in Florida, as you can actually see. So that's honestly a lot more concerning. Now, the problem with this being is obviously the areas, more east are likely to get impacted. But the crazy thing is that also, like I said, the more north the system does go, the more north of the system does go, the more it's going to run into what we call wind shear. Basically just very, very strong winds at certain levels of the atmosphere, causing the system that's vertically stacked to basically go horizontal, or I should say crooked. So basically with that being said, let's go and see here. Proxy gifting 10 memberships as well. Congratulations, guys. Absolutely congratulations. Proxy, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Every single one of you all. Lillian, Spencer, Proxy, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for the support. Greatly appreciated. Definitely does help out the channel a lot. So like I said, we have a lot of updates coming through here right now. Things are definitely really getting a bit interesting here. So, like I said, first of all, the cone has shifted a little bit more here to the east. And obviously that is throwing more of a problem for the eastern coast, or sorry, the western coast of Florida here. So that's the first thing. But like I said, I mean, honestly, that's the new information in regarding this system. Now, here's the thing. So this thing is expected to become a major hurricane. This thing is expected to become a whopping Category 4 storm out here in the Atlantic. Like I said, the more east it does go, the less it's going to be influenced by that wind shear. And like I was talking about those winds there, that wind shear that's going to cause the storm to destabilize would be more in effect if it went more to the north. The best case scenario would be for it to go more north, but unfortunately, it looks like the latest trends are kind of pointing it a little bit more here to the east, in which that's something we got to really watch out here for, okay? So that's something we got to just really keep on watching here. So, if we take a look here at the latest models in regard to the Hurricane Center, there's still a decent amount of a disagreement in regard to the system. I mean, you can see, though, according to the last run we were looking at a little bit ago, you could actually see that, we had some models going towards, Pensacola. Remember we were talking about that earlier? That's no longer there, and it has actually moved this way more here to the east. So, obviously this thing is expected to, obviously skim the western coast here of Africa, or the western coast here of Cuba, not Africa. Disregard that. This system is expected to skim the western coast here of Cuba. Okay, for the next 48 hours. So obviously, or until the next 48 hours. So basically that 2-day mark here, we are expecting some pretty nasty impacts to occur across portions of Cuba. Obviously, this thing will track its way here more towards Florida. And at this point, I'm telling you now, Florida is going to get impacted. If it's not been obvious at this point, Florida is going to get hit by this system. I'd say it's about a 99% chance now. So that's kind of what we are actually talking about here. So things are definitely a little bit sketchy, okay? So things are getting a little bit interesting. So if we follow that middle point here, like I said, obviously right there, if we follow that exact middle point, that is the line of best fit. Now you can obviously see that middle point has it right there at that transition from the western coast into portions of the Panhandle. Now with that being said, like I said, that's the middle point. The latest runs have shifted more here to the east, which is not good news. Obviously, for portions of western Florida, that could be a concern. Like I said, the cone of uncertainty has actually been shifted here more down to the south, or more into southern Florida, as you can see here, and pulling away a little bit from the Panhandle, which is a little bit interesting. So that's kind of what I want to go ahead and discuss, you guys. Now, here's the latest information. Like I said, the hurricane hunters are currently en route. They just now did a drop sonde a little bit ago. We probably have another one popping up here in a little bit. They did do a pressure reading here, and they did determine that it has a 992 millibar drop on it, which that is extreme difference compared to what the last update said. Once again, if you don't know how to go by air pressure, just put it for an example like this. We had 1,003 millibars before, so to take a value of 1,003, that's considered a decent low pressure system, okay? That's considered a decent low pressure system. Now, once you move into that 990s marks, sometimes, I'm not saying in this case specifically, but sometimes in the 990s, the lower 990 mark, you can have hurricanes with that pressure. And that pressure went from 1,003 to 991. Now, that says 992, but the Hurricane Center has 991 logged for the latest update. So, honestly, like I said, with that being said, that's a dramatic drop in pressure. And the more the pressure drops, the more intensification it's going to go. I mean, we literally seen a seriously crazy drop just happen here in regard to the latest pressure. It went from 45 miles per hour sustained winds now to 60 miles per hour, in which obviously that is something we are gotta really watch out for. So this thing is rapidly intensifying at this point here. So in regard to timing, we didn't really go over that, which we need to right now. So everyone listen up for this, okay? Here's some really important parts. There's a lot of other things we got to talk about here as well in regard to warnings, watches. Okay, so basically right now this thing is a tropical storm. A 65 mile per hour, or sorry, a 60 mile an hour tropical storm here. Sustained winds of 60 miles per hour with higher gusts. Now here's the thing. As we track away here for the Monday afternoon, obviously here for tomorrow, we are going to see this system become a hurricane. So this thing is expected to become a hurricane by either, I'd say even morning hours into early afternoon. This thing is expected to become a Category 1 storm. So we have ourselves, okay, now we're going to move on to some of these warnings here. So basically across portions of the red, these are hurricane warnings that is in effect here for the Western Cayman Island. Okay, so for the Western Cayman Island is now under a hurricane warning. Tropical storm watches across portions here of the Eastern Cayman Island. You can see, however, a short distance, how things dramatically change. So, obviously, tropical storm watch saying, okay, so it's possible tropical storm conditions could, obviously maybe play out here, but like I said, obviously with the warnings, that's more of an immediate concern. The watches is pay attention to it. Warnings mean to take action, but there's no warnings for the Eastern Cayman Island, just for the Western one. Now, obviously here in Cuba, we now have ourselves a lot of hurricane warnings that is in effect across portions here of the red. So what I believe is that, honestly, with this in particular system, since it's moving so far to the west of Cuba, I really don't think that this thing is going to be devolving as it moves its way over here portions of Cuba. Usually with systems, depending on how far they move into Cuba, they would rapidly weaken because of those mountain ranges. Obviously, with that being said, that's not really going to be a concern for a couple reasons here. First of all, this system is going to be moving pretty decently quick here. It's going to stay relatively far to the west, for one. And here's the thing, the elevations of those mountains is not as high as they are across portions of the central time. So, that is kind of what we are actually seeing here. So that's something we got to definitely really consider here. So, this thing is expected to become a Category 2 just before landfall here in western Cuba. Expected to actually strengthen as it's going over portions here of Cuba into a Category 3 hurricane. Then obviously rapid intensification will still continue obviously into the morning hours here of Wednesday when it's supposed to become a Category 4 hurricane, which that is actually really concerning. So, and also, like I said, the latest information here is actually quite interesting. So we actually do have our first set of watches in place for portions of Florida. Here for the Florida Keys, these areas here in the yellow, this is active tropical storm watches. Now, these will probably definitely, they'll definitely need to be updated eventually. This is the regions where we are seeing the tropical storm force characteristics being possible down the line. Now, if these turn to warnings, that's when you need to take action. Now, I'd say, honestly, if you guys are in Florida, across portions here of the Keys, even the western side of Florida, if you are near or in the cone of uncertainty, you need to prepare for this system. And honestly, you guys should be preparing for this here right now. Okay, so obviously, like I said, right now would be a good time to prepare. Like I said, don't panic. Obviously panicking makes situations a lot worse than they are. You still have a few days out there. Like I said, obviously today is, today is Sunday. We're heading into Monday. This thing's not supposed to really cause some problems in Florida until Wednesday into Thursday. Okay, so that is kind of what we are talking about. So that's just something we got to really watch out here for. So with that being said, like I said, obviously we just got to keep an eye on it. Tropical storm watches have been issued. Let's see, Scott Clark with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Scott. Big shout out goes to you as well. Seriously, greatly appreciated. You guys are absolutely generous. Thank you so much for that. Proxy, Lillian, I mean, obviously Scott as well. Thank you so much for that. You guys are the best. Greatly appreciated. Also Spencer as well. Thank you for the support. You absolutely rock, my friends. Seriously, it definitely does mean a lot. It really helps us out. It really does. So thank you so much for that. But like I said, obviously as mentioned before here, the latest information, yeah, we do now have tropical storm watches for portions here of the southern Keys. These will need to be updated over the next little bit. I didn't mention that the blue ones here, these are actually tropical storm warnings. Okay, so these are the grounds here in the blue where we are expecting tropical storm force conditions. The red showing those hurricane warnings where we are expecting hurricane conditions to be a concern here. So like I said, that's kind of what we are talking about here. So obviously that is indeed actively what we are talking about. So obviously hurricane warning for the western Cayman Island here, tropical storm watch for the eastern Cayman Island here. So like I said, right now it just got a massive upgrade here. If you guys are just now tuning in here, we just seen a big leap in this system, which is not very good. Last update had this thing at 45 mile per hour sustained winds. Okay, so 45 mile an hour sustained winds as well as 1,003 millibars, which that's a pretty, I mean, that's a decent low pressure system, but it's obviously not really anything extreme. But the latest information, like I said, hurricane hunters had just now flown into the system here. Okay, they just now flown into it, and they detected a 992 millibar drop, or actually, sorry, a 992 millibar update here. So that went from 1,003 millibars to 992, which is actually pretty crazy. So that is something we're just gonna really watch out here for. So once again, that's a huge drop, and if the pressure does drop, that means the storm is strengthening. That means that this storm is definitely strengthening here. So that is indeed we are talking about here. So that's something we're gonna keep an eye here for, obviously, over the next little bit. It's a big drop there in that pressure, for one, showing rapid intensification. Obviously, also the wind speeds have actually went up here to, they also went up there to 60 miles per hour, from 45 to 60, which is pretty crazy. Scott says, do I have a black eye or baggy eyes, lack of sleep? No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. I just like wearing these glasses. They're pretty cool. I just got them here the other day, and I just think they're pretty cool to wear. But, well, thank you so much for that super chat again. Really appreciate it. Scott, big shout out goes to you. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with me right now. Just have to have it. See, Evan says they're a little much. Hey, I think they're cool, though. I really think that they are cool. Let's see. It looks like I'm about to fly into the Hurricane Hunter plane. Dude, that would actually be really cool. Speaking of which, let's do an update on this here. They're flying down to the south now. They actually are flying a little bit more here, or more down to the south here. Proxy saying it makes the computer screen better. It actually does. It really does help to restrain on my eyes. Absolutely, it really does. Believe it or not. So overall, it's just benefit, basically. Let's see. Chick-fil-A says, Chick-fil-A boy says, I look good in the glasses. Well, thank you. Really appreciate it. Definitely means a lot. But anyways, like I said, obviously that is what we are actively talking about here. So that's, like I said, that's the latest information regarding that. So here we're going to do some more updates in regard to some things. We actually have some new products coming out here we need to discuss here, which is definitely something that's going to need to be talked about. So here we go. So here's the wind speed probabilities as of now. This is looking at tropical storm force wind speeds. So obviously that is what we are looking at. So the areas here in the purple, that is showing a 90 to 100% chance of expecting tropical storm force winds. And those are the regions where we are expecting to see tropical storm force winds for sure. Obviously, a lot of Florida is lit up into this. I mean, even portions like towards Orlando now at this point is around a 40 to 50% chance of tropical storm force winds. Tampa, we're talking a 60 to 70% chance of those. Let's see here. Around Tallahassee, we're talking about a 40 to 50% chance. Just listing out some names for cities here. Miami, we're talking about about a 10, hold on, actually a 20 to 30% chance. So, just kind of goes to show you the chances of tropical storm force winds. And if I go ahead and play this out here, if you guys want to look at a specific area here in Florida, just match it up with the column here. obviously there's a decent chance that, obviously Florida is going to get impacted. Now, the possibility of tropical storm force winds actually extends all the way into eastern Louisiana at its lowest risk here of about a 5 to 10% chance, which honestly, yeah, that's not very high. The chances of that happening is more unlikely than likely. But that's just what we are looking at. Now, here's the thing. We're going to go ahead and move on into the hurricane probability in regard to that. So so here's the hurricane probability, or the probability of seeing hurricane force winds in regard to things. You can obviously tell here at this point, we actually are currently, like I said, you can obviously tell here at this point that the probabilities are quite low. Now, this is because we are ironing things out here. Let's see here. Edward with the dollar super chat. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Edward, you as well. Let's see. Also, Scott with another 5. Thank you so much. Let's see here. I have a YouTube channel, not really related, but I have it for my channel in your chat for people to, or can I put my channel in your chat for people to watch? Typically we don't usually do advertising, but obviously, if you want to, go ahead. Sure. Let's see here. Edward with another. Thank you so much. Yeah, big old shout out, guys. Seriously, the support today is amazing. Thank you all for your support. Big shout out. Obviously, Edward, Scott, as well as Lillian, Spencer, Proxy, you guys are the best. Thank you all for your support. You guys definitely do rock. And obviously, like I said, thank you. Seriously, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to continue to do what we do. Because obviously, like I said, it does take a lot of it takes a lot of time. And unfortunately, these programs and stuff are, they do cost a little bit. But obviously, thank you seriously so much for that. You do not realize how grateful I am for it. So obviously, moving in here to the second product here. This is actually our. Like I said, this is actually our thing here. Just going to see you. Once again, thank you so much for that, Edward. Really appreciate it. Now, here's the expected rainfall. Now, like I said before, this can drastically change. There's a lot of factors in regard to this specifically. It really matters. Like I said, obviously, with that being said, in regard to things, obviously with the rain and stuff like that, it matters a lot on track, intensity, and obviously motion. So if this system is moving fast, obviously rainfall totals will be going down because not as much rain will be falling here. But anyway, so in regard to that, like I said, obviously that is obviously a big factor. So I do expect these totals to change. I'm not going to say that they are final yet. They're definitely not final here. Let's go ahead and see here. Edward, another 5? Edward, thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh, Edward, thank you. You are absolutely amazing. Scott and Edward and Proxy, all of you guys, thank you so much for that. Lillian, Spencer, you guys are obviously greatly appreciated. Thank you, seriously, from the bottom of my heart for all the support. Greatly appreciated. Definitely is very, very generous of you guys. Now, like I said, obviously this is not final. This is not going to be final for a little bit. But as of now, according to the keys here, we could see the potential of maybe 4 to 6 inches of rain in regard to things. Orlando kind of between that 2 to 4 and 4 to 6 range, which obviously more of like 2 to 4. But like I said, these totals are definitely going to change. This really determines on the track of the system. Like I said, obviously the speed of the system as well as the intensity. The more stronger it is, the more rain it's going to have in it. The more rain potential it's going to have in it. Obviously the track determines on where the rain's going to go. And obviously in regard to the speed, it's going to tell you how much it's going to fall over a certain duration. So you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of factors in regard to how much rain we could expect here. So honestly, at this point, like I said, I'm really I'm not too set on this right now. Although I will say, yeah, there is actually a flooding potential here. They have a slight risk here for flooding. Obviously, proportions here in central and southern Florida. Basically, just showing a potential. Okay, so the possibility of some flooding. That's kind of expected. Obviously, tropical systems do bring that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this now. Okay, this is probably the first that you've actually heard this. But in regard to things, like I said, here's what's going on here, okay? So obviously, there is the possibility for a few isolated tornadoes as well. With the cyclones that move their way through here on the right-hand side, this is what we call cyclone-induced tornadoes. Now, these are obviously showing possibilities of, maybe a few tornadoes could be possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Places in Florida, when this cyclone hits, when this system hits, okay, that is going to show the possibility that we could have a few spawns of tornadoes happening. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. Definitely keep that in mind here. Let's see, that's not the total rain for landfall. Yeah, like I said, this is just a potential. Obviously this is just a potential here. This is still, like I said, the 1 to 3 day rainfall forecast. That's what this is. yeah, but like I said, obviously, even that total range, I would not take that serious at all. I mean, obviously, like I said, that track can definitely change in the next 1 to 2 days. Which I'm saying, I'm not taking this serious right now. But like I said, obviously, with that being said, though, now this one right here, this is actually our our storm surge forecast here for the Keys as of now, showing around 1 to 3 foot of storm surges or surges being possible around 1 to 3 foot here. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. Let's go and see here. Is Proxy still giving memberships? Well, Proxy, thank you so much for all that. Greatly appreciated, my friends. Definitely a big shout out goes to you, Edward, Scott, once again, Lillian, Spencer, and Proxy. You guys are the best. Appreciate all of your support here. Let's go see. I know. I was just letting you know. Okay, sounds good. Well, Evan, thank you so much for that, though. Thank you for keeping on lookout there. But yeah, so that's, like I said, that's currently what is happening in regard to the system here. So, once again, for the people just now joining it, here is the previous track here of the system of Ian. Like I said, this thing is now undergoing a rapid intensification process. And like I said, from the last report to the one we just got now, this thing has literally went, okay, picture this. This thing has went from 1,003 millibars with a serious drop now to 991 millibars. So that is a extreme amount of a droppage in pressure. It went from 45 mile per hour sustained winds to now 60 mile per hour sustained winds in the last update. And obviously, with that being said, we are expecting rapid intensification. I mean, the surface temperatures of the waters are very hot, in which, like I said, obviously 26 degrees Celsius waters and higher is expected or needed for tropical cyclones to form. We're seeing 30 degrees Celsius water. So well in the realm of intensification, rapid intensification being possible. No wind shear to destroy the storm structure. Like I said, obviously the storms want to be vertically stacked. If some strong winds pushes against it, it's going to cause it to tilt. And with that being said, like I said, obviously that is actively what we are talking about here. Let's go and see here. Scott with another 5? Are you serious? Thank you so much, Scott. So thank you for the YouTube show, Walking in the Woods. Well, obviously, Scott, well, thank you seriously for your support. That's greatly appreciated. Big thanks goes to you. Thank you so much here. Let's go and see. Compare with the most recent run of how each model to drop to 991 or near it. Or compare it to the most recent run. Okay, we'll look at the models, the specific models here in a little bit. We'll definitely get to that point here. But once again, thank you so much, everyone. Greatly appreciated for the support. Just thank you all for being here. It's greatly appreciated. Obviously, like I said, y'all please be safe out there. And if you got any questions, like I said, we're going to try to answer as many as possible. Like I said, obviously, we care for y'all. We want you guys to be safe and prepared, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Like I said, obviously, yesterday we did ourselves some coverage on this as well, and tomorrow we're going to do coverage until this thing makes landfall, and you bet we'll be live when it actually happens. We are going to be giving you guys coverage. And like I said, Evan even knows this. Like I said, what we say is basically, okay, so say power goes out. Okay, obviously in that situation, with that being said, like I said, in that situation, people are going to start relying to cell service because their phones might still work, but their power's out. Then you can switch to YouTube, and that's when we're here. Okay, so obviously with that being said, in regard to the system, when those power outages start to occur, you guys can rely on us. We are going to be here when this system does make landfall. Okay, we're definitely going to be here. So that's something we're definitely watching out for. Let's see, Crystal with the super chat as well. Thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate it. You guys are seriously on fire with this today. Thank you so much for all the support. You guys don't realize how thankful I am for all your support. So now, once again, big shout out does go, obviously to Crystal Miller. Obviously goes to, obviously Scott as well. Edward. Let's go and see Lillian as well. Spencer and Proxy. You guys are the best. Thank you for all your generous, obviously help with the channel. Thank you absolutely so much. You guys are the best here. But anyways, so either lives in the hurricane pass or family that does. I want to say good luck and I wish the best for y'all. Absolutely, yeah. We're gonna need to definitely, we're gonna definitely need to say our prayers here. Obviously, the system does barrel this way closer here. So, I mean, not just for Florida. I mean, like I said, obviously Cuba too is gonna get slammed by the system here. So, we're gonna go ahead and go over these here one more time for you guys, or at least for one time now. So we are watching. Here's the current warnings that we have in place here. Those watches and warnings are starting to reach the states. Okay. we have the latest update bringing ourselves some tropical storm watches for portions here, obviously in the Keys. So that's something we're definitely watching out for. So obviously we have ourselves some tropical storm watches for portions of the Keys as well as the eastern Cayman Island here. Now we move into tropical storm warnings. Those are the regions we're seeing that here. Let's see. Edward, again. Are you serious, Edward? Thank you so much for your generous support. All of you guys, thank you seriously so much. Big shout out. Seriously, you guys are amazing. Thank you, absolutely. You guys absolutely rock. Once again, big shout out goes to all of you guys. Greatly appreciated. Now, like I was saying, tropical storm warnings in effect across portions here of the blue. Okay, so those are obviously the regions where we are seeing basically those tropical storm force conditions that is expected to occur. Across portions here of the red, those are hurricane warnings. Okay, so those are where hurricane conditions are possible. Or sorry, not possible, but expected, I should say. So here for the Western Cayman Island, obviously for portions here of Western Cuba, hurricane conditions is expected to occur here. So that's something we got to definitely watch out here for. And obviously, like I said, tropical storm conditions is expected a little bit more here to the east of that. So that's definitely something to watch out here for. So, all right, my friends, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and move on over here into the models because we have ourselves a few things we do need to discuss here. Latest runs, like I said beforehand, as we actually have seen here, the latest information does actually have, you know, like I said, these models are actually shifting a little bit more to the east. The latest trend is a little eastward compared to the previous update. Now, obviously, where the system is now, obviously tracking its way here to the west, expected to get a little bit more of a northerly opponent over the next 1 to 2 days. This thing is expected to skim the western side here of Cuba. And obviously, this is going to be bringing hurricane conditions for Cuba. Like I said, expected to be a Category 2, transitioning into a Category 3. This thing's actually, instead of weakening like a lot of people would, you know, normally see out of these systems, this is actually supposed to strengthen as it's passing through Cuba. And with that being said, you know, obviously, like I said, with that being said there, the reason is because, first of all, this system has plenty of, you know, basically, I'd say nourishment that the systems need, and plenty of warm waters, which is going to fuel these systems like very crazily. Plenty of potential in the atmosphere, and also the western sides here of Cuba is also a more shallower mountain ranges. Obviously, if this system was actually heading more inland, like central Cuba, then that would cause a lot of destabilization. But that's not what's forecasted. That's not what's going to happen, and only it's going to strengthen as it pulls through Cuba. So like I was saying, obviously that is what we are talking about here in regard to things. Let's see here. It's already, is it down to 990 apparently? Let's see here. We did have a recon mission just fly through here a little bit ago. Apparently, they did another one that was 997, but obviously that's not really, they did not do that really in the center, it doesn't look like. Well, that's obviously right there, that's kind of the center. But anyways, regardless though, you know what they must have did? They must have dropped that sun right there in that convective burst that just popped up. That is definitely that's definitely a possibility. Let's go see here. Scott with another 5. Oh my, Scott! Thank you so much, dude. Everyone, please give Scott, obviously Scott, Edward, I mean everyone, Crystal, obviously all of you guys, you know, Scott Clark, obviously, like I said, Scott, Edward, Crystal, Lillian, Spencer, and Proxy. Thank you guys. From the bottom of my heart, you guys, seriously, that's greatly appreciated. It really helps us out. Big shout out goes to you guys. But anyways, like I was saying, you know, with that being said, that is kind of what we are talking about. So that pressure is definitely, that is definitely dropping here. So, all right, we're gonna move on to the models now. Obviously, I'm sure that's what you guys kind of want to look at here. We're really as far zoomed in for some reason here. All right, we're gonna switch over here to the first model, the HWRF model. This is also the run we're seeing just above my head here as an example. Okay. So, like I said, obviously this is model outputs. Don't expect models to be perfect because they're not, and they're never going to be perfect. So, like I said, obviously that is kind of what we are seeing here. So, let's go and move over here to the models. Obviously, taking a look here at the timing is on the top right-hand corner. Now, according to, like I said, obviously it's around like 8 o'clock p.m. It's showing 999, right, millibars. Now, obviously that's actually a little bit lower right now. So, but that's kind of crazy. So here we go. So rapid intensification process is already beginning here. So this is portions of, obviously those are the Cayman Islands down there. This right here is Western Cuba. And at this point, it's 967 millibars here by the 26th. Being tomorrow, around this time tomorrow, this thing, according to the HWRF model, could be a pretty strong hurricane here. So, obviously, direct landfall on western Cuba is kind of expected here for the early morning hours of the 27th. Obviously, that would be for Tuesday, I believe. So, obviously, for the early 27th, I mean, we're talking literally times between like 2 and 5 o'clock. That's kind of according to this model when we are going to see basically that landfall make its way there. So, but obviously conditions, I mean, obviously impacts are going to happen much sooner. And something I'm actually going to do is we're going to switch over to the lower level wind field, obviously to look at those tropical storm and hurricane conditions. So it's really not showing, okay, obviously tropical storm conditions can kind of start here for this little island here just south of Cuba. I'd say probably here for tomorrow night, tomorrow late evening. Okay, so watch out for that here. But here we go. So it impacts portions here of Cuba, definitely throwing those winds here. Like I said, obviously with this, you know, these systems, they rotate counterclockwise, and basically this is just pouring a bunch. Like I said, obviously this is just pouring a bunch of, you know, a bunch of winds and a bunch of waves across portions here of basically the western side of Cuba. So this is going to be bringing in that storm surge concerns. Going to be bringing in a whole bunch of things here. Proxy with a $50 donation. Also, Edward with another one. You guys are super generous. Please know that you don't have to donate to us. Like I said, I mean, you guys just being here is greatly appreciated. Proxy. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Edward, you as well. Oh my god. You guys absolutely rock. Thank you so much. Proxy saying biggest shout out goes to you, Andrew, for the best, most informative weather tracking stream on YouTube. You rock. Thanks for all your hard work. Well, thank you so much. Seriously. That is, that's crazy. Thank you guys absolutely so much for that. You guys are the best. You guys are amazing. Thank you seriously so much for that. Wow, big shout out goes to you all. Thank you for helping out the channel, guys. Greatly appreciated. Means a lot to me. Definitely does. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Seriously. So much here. But like I said, so obviously here for the early morning hours here, or the early morning here for the September 27th, obviously here for Tuesday, we are going to see some very strong impacts here across portions of Cuba. Now, as we track our way down here in time, obviously, the conditions is only expected to actually strengthen, as you can see here, going from at landfall 956 millibars to at past landfall 954. So that is actually pretty crazy. So obviously, like I said, those winds are really going to be battering against the waves here. Now, what it looks like, according to the HWRF model, is that some of those tropical storm force winds could occur here for the 28th. Obviously, this being on Wednesday. So early Wednesday, throughout Wednesday, into Thursday is when we are expecting the system to make landfall. Now, according to the latest HWRF model, once again, this is basically, like I said, you cannot trust these to be exact, because like I said, obviously, one specific model is not accurate. It's kind of biased just to look at one specific model. They're not perfect. That's why we're going to be looking at a few of them. So according to the HWRF model, this does show a lot of those, winds running parallel against the coast here and then eventually slamming into the coastlines, obviously causing, storm surges, all kinds of problems. So that's kind of what we are talking about here. So once again, that is indeed what we are talking about. So once again, guys, obviously, please be safe. I mean, obviously, please definitely watch out for this, okay? Definitely watch out for this here very, very closely. So once again, yeah, the system will drive its way up here into Florida and eventually into portions of Georgia. Now, the crazy part is I'm actually heading down to Florida on the 1st. So I might see some impacts in regard to the system. So we'll just definitely continue to watch this here. But that's according to the HWRF model. Now, something I also do want to go ahead and show you. Let's go ahead and remove my little marker here. Also, something I do want to go ahead and show you here is that obviously as we track away in time. So here is the future satellite. The satellite, obviously convective bursts are already starting to occur here. Which, honestly, this model is showing a lot of that convective burst starting to happen. And that's actually what we are seeing here on the latest satellite imagery. If you take a look here at the latest satellite, you can actually see how a lot more of these bursting convective bands are already starting to form here. That's showing the intensification process really beginning here. These little bands are already starting to form. And obviously this main convective burst here in the center is probably why we got such a low pressure reading. It's because I think that they dropped that drop sonde right in the middle of this convective burst when it was happening. So obviously when you have air rising, it creates like a suction on the bottom, which lowers that air pressure. So I think that's what happened. I think that that's what they did, and they obviously flew through that convective burst when it happened. I mean, speaking of, I bet they got a lot of turbulence with that run too, which is crazy. But anyways, but like I was saying, you know, that's currently what is going on there. Obviously, that is indeed what we are seeing here. So this is going to continue tracking its way up here to the northwest here. Obviously here, like I said, by tomorrow, this thing is expected to actually become a hurricane, and obviously should continue to strengthen until landfall here in a portion of western Cuba. It's still going to strengthen as it's making landfall in Cuba. That's the crazy part. As of now, it's supposed to make landfall as a Category 3 hurricane across portions here of Cuba. So obviously Cubans got to watch out for this here very, very, very closely. If we go ahead and turn on the watches and warnings, you can actually see where these areas are. Like I said, as mentioned before, these regions in the red, these are all that. Let's go see Crystal with another donation. Thank you so much, Crystal. Really appreciate it, my friends. You guys are seriously amazing. Thank you. Like I said, I've never seen such an amazing group of people. I've never seen such an amazing, you know, community before. So you all, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know I say that a lot, but I truly mean it. I hope you know that. I seriously greatly appreciate it. See, Edward with another one as well. You guys are so generous. You guys are absolutely generous. You guys don't have to do this. You know that, right? You don't have to be donating. Like I said, I mean, like I said, I don't even ask for anything, really. Like I said, if you are new to the channel, I mean, consider hitting that subscribe button. That's usually what I say, but seriously, greatly appreciate it. Edward, thank you so much. You as well, Crystal. You guys are the best. You guys seriously are the best. Greatly appreciate it, you guys. But where I picked off here is, like I said, obviously we are expecting a Category 3 landfall to occur across portions of the way here. And the latest cone does have this thing continuing to be, like I said, obviously, you know, continuing to be here. You know, obviously we are going to continue to see this thing turn into a Category 4 here. And obviously, you know, as it gets closer to portions here of, like I said, obviously as it gets, you know, closer to portions here of Florida, we are going to be seeing, you know, this thing start to kind of weaken. Now, like I said, the main idea was, okay, now here's the factor. And this is one, this is two scenarios that could play out, okay? This is two different scenarios. So, first of all, we have ourselves, okay, the far west scenario. So if this system decides it wants to impact portions of the panhandle more towards like the western side, there's going to be a lot of strong winds that's going to be basically blasting its way to the northeast, basically creating the system to rapidly weaken, okay? That's on the far west scenario. So if that happens, it's going to dramatically weaken by the time it reaches land, and obviously going to have not as harsh impacts on Florida in general. Now, here's the thing. Now, if we have the easterly motion, here's the problem. Okay, the easterly one is going to be a little bit more destructive, I should say. Like I said, I don't like to use these words, but that's just kind of the truth in regard to this here. So, obviously, with that being said, if it takes more of an easterly trajectory, those upper-level winds are going to not really be influencing the system as much, not going to be causing as much havoc to the storm structure. Because, like I said, the impacts on hurricanes with these winds, okay? You have a normal hurricane that's vertically stacked. Now, if those winds start blowing against the side, it's going to cause the system, it's going to cause that vertically stacked plate to go sideways, and that's going to cause the storm to quickly start wobbling and go destabilize, and obviously just kind of fade out and quickly die out. But if you're dealing with less of that, it's going to create, continue to keep the storm mostly organized. And like I said, with that being said, that is kind of what we are talking about here. So that is indeed what we are actively seeing. So we're going to keep an eye on it. It really depends on where this thing could make landfall. And like I was saying, you guys, I mean, literally anywhere along the coastline, inside of the cone of uncertainty, you are still not ruled out for a direct landfall. Like I said, anywhere in these regions, that's where the center of the storm could track over into. Okay, so that's obviously what we're talking about here. Scott with another 5? Are you serious? See, I walk in the woods. Thanks for the promotion. Scott, thank you so much for all that you guys have done. Not just Scott, but all of you guys here. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Edward, Crystal, Proxy. I mean, Scott, all of you guys. Thank you so much for that. You guys are the best. You guys seriously are the best. And always know that I have the best community on YouTube by far. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Greatly appreciated. And like I said, just know that we're going to be here for you. Okay, we are going to be here for you. Thank you all so much here. That is greatly appreciated. So like I said, I mean, obviously, like I said, you know, there is still a lot of unknowns. Believe it or not, even at this point, there is still a lot of unknowns. Now, every update we go through here, we're going to get a little bit more and more information. Now, just know that this system is going to be fluctuating east and west over the next little bit. Okay, over the next few days, this is going to be, you know, kind of wobbling back and forth, the cone of uncertainty, until it finds its final target. And once it does that, we will definitely let you guys know. Now, like I said, as of now, where the cone of uncertainty lies is far west here into the western panhandle of Florida, and all the way, actually a little bit more down to the south now, towards Cape Coral again. The cone of uncertainty has actually shifted more down to the south and more to the east here in the latest run. So it went from, like, I think the cone was actually like somewhere, let's see, yeah, the cone was somewhere like over here, I believe, including Alabama, and a little bit up here more to the north, but you can see how the cone has actually shifted more to the right, in which that shows it going more inland towards Florida, you know, more of Florida. So, but anyway, so like I said, the center of the storm, the eye of the storm, can track anywhere inside of this cone. So that is indeed what we are talking about here. So, once again, Scott, thank you so much. I don't know why that was a little delayed, but seriously, greatly appreciated, my friends. All of you guys, thank you for your kind donations and kind words. You guys are the best. Always know that. Seriously, thank you all. Now we have Self-Care donating too. Self-Care, you as well. Welcome to the club, I guess. Thank you so much for that. You guys are seriously, you guys are the best here. Thank you so much. Self-Care says a little something for you, brother. Well, Self-Care, thank you so much. All of you guys really appreciate it. You all absolutely rock. Just always know that. Thank you, seriously. You guys are literally making my night here. Thank you all so much for your support. So I have a question coming in here from Height, wanting to know what does Ian look like now. Once again, thank you so much there, Self-Care. Greatly appreciated. But like I said, obviously, so you're wanting to know what's the latest conditions look like. So the hurricane hunters have obviously just went into this storm here as of now. Now, obviously, the latest information, the latest scans, you can obviously see a lot more thunderstorm action really kicking off here. We have a lot of convective bursts that's really starting to actually occur, starting to occur across portions of the way. See this long line of storms forming here? That's one of the bands that's really starting to actually, materialize here. So that is something we are watching here. Now, obviously, here across portions of the center, we are also seeing this big old convective burst that is currently ongoing. So with that being said, that is what we are looking at here. Let's see. Edward again with another donation saying, great coverage, thank you. No, Edward, thank you for your support. That is seriously greatly appreciated. You guys are the best. Thank you all so much. Big shout out goes to you, Edward. Once again, thank you so much, all of you guys. But in regard to the latest information, like I was discussing here, like in the latest realm in regard to things, with this in particular system here, okay, so obviously with this in particular system, the hurricane hunters have just flown by, and like I said, the latest update, the last update before the latest one we just got to, we were at 1,003 millibars, which that's, I mean, not really any significant low pressure, but I mean, it's a strengthening low. It's expected to strengthen, but I was not expecting a dramatic drop as what we see. So we went from 1,003 millibars now all the way down to 900 and apparently 90 now. Someone said 990, but latest information I saw was 991. Which that's actually pretty crazy. So that's kind of what we are seeing here as of now. So that is definitely what we are looking at. So, but anyway, so this system is going to continue to move its way and continue to rapidly develop. I mean, this is going to continue to undergo some rapid intensification. Like I said, there's plenty of warm waters underneath the storm for its whole entire journey. Throughout its whole journey, this is under some very, very warm waters. Okay, so definitely, definitely look at that. So, in regard to moisture, there's tons and tons of moisture supply across portions of the Gulf of Mexico, as well as the Caribbean. Plenty enough moisture for the system to thrive. So, there's really three factors here in regard to the system here. There's really three factors in regard to these systems forming and stuff like that. So, first of all, we have ourselves, like I said, the surface temperatures are very, very hot. Excellent conditions, no limitations. Plenty of moisture, excellent conditions, no limitations. And lastly, there is no wind shear, which is basically like a pushing against the storm that causes it to wobble. That would be bad for the storm. But in that case, there's no wind shear, so this is having no limits. Literally, there is no cap. There's no limit factors on this thing right now. Edward with another one. Thank you so much, Edward. Seriously, you are the best. Edward, Self-Care, Scott, Clark, and all of you guys. Proxy, Crystal. Seriously, you guys are the best. For all of your support. Seriously, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. But that is kind of what we are talking about here. So that's kind of what we are watching, my friend, and we are going to definitely keep an eye on it. So, once again, this system will continue to track its way up here to the northwest. Like I said, obviously we are going to definitely watch this here, and we're gonna really watch out for it as this thing does continue. So, obviously, as the system does track its way up here, basically, to the northwest, we are going to see. Obviously, like I said, this system make landfall in western Cuba as a hurricane. This thing is expected to be a Category 3 hurricane here on landfall, which that is considered a quote-unquote major hurricane. So that is something we got to really watch out for. So these are the red areas are where hurricane warnings are in place, where hurricane conditions are expected. Across portions of the blue, those are tropical storm warnings, where tropical storm force conditions is expected. So that is indeed what we are talking about. So we're definitely going to watch this here very, very closely. Now, obviously, just like I said, this thing's going to be rapidly intensifying from basically now until the next few days. Obviously, this thing's running into some literally barely any limitations at all. The warm waters there. We got ourselves obviously, like I said, the warm waters, the moisture, and no wind shear. It's looking pretty good. Now, like I said, obviously as an update as well, for portions here in the Keys, we do actually have a few tropical storm watches that is currently in effect. So obviously that is what we are talking about. So we're gonna watch it. We're definitely going to keep an eye on this. Tropical storm watches means that down the line it's possible that tropical storm conditions could exist. It's not a for sure thing yet. Now, if a warning is issued, like I said, a watch means to pay attention. If a warning is issued, that means to take action. So that is kind of what we are actively talking about here. So that's what we are looking at. Let's see. A walk in the woods with $2 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. All of you guys, big shout out goes to you guys, obviously, for all the kind support. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Edward with another one again. I'm just now seeing as well. Guys, thank you so much. You guys seriously have big hearts, and it's greatly appreciated. You guys honestly do rock, and thank you. Seriously, once again, you guys are the best. You really, really are. So, but like I said, but then obviously those tropical storm watches are in effect. But like I said, the watches you pay attention to for possible future concerns with tropical storm conditions being possible. And obviously with warnings, that means that immediate concerns or imminent concerns is possible. Once again, Edward, thank you so much for that. But that's just kind of what we are talking about here. Like I said, obviously that is, what we are talking about. So, we're going to keep an eye on it. We're definitely going to watch this here very, very closely. Like I said, the cone of uncertainty has actually shifted a little bit more here to the east in regard to things. And like I said, basically what the cone of uncertainty is, does not show where the effects felt of the storm would be. So a lot of people have mistaken that, of where the effects could be felt. This is actually, this is basically where the center of the storm could track into. So the eye of the storm could obviously make landfall anywhere inside of the cone of uncertainty. So, with that being said, the eye could go as far west as areas towards Pensacola, surrounding areas, or it can go as far towards Tampa, towards Cape Coral. There still is some unknowns. There's still a big question mark in regard to which area is going to make direct landfall. Okay, I want you guys to understand that. But obviously, like I said, over the next few days, as we get more data coming through here, as the hurricane hunters fly through it, they're going to be dropping those drop zones. They're going to plug them into the models. In regard to satellite information, they're going to get, obviously weather balloons soundings. We're going to get a whole bunch of drop sonde information. We're going to plug all of those into models, and it's going to help us get a better view in regard to things. So that is, that's obviously going to be giving us, that is obviously going to be giving us some more information here as the system does bear in here. So, but anyway, so by the time this thing does approach portions here of, Western Cuba, we are actually going to see, basically we actually are going to see a lot more better information on where this system could more indefinitely hit portions of Florida. Now, at this point, it is safe to say that, yeah, Florida is going to get affected by the system. And like I said, obviously, DeSantis, the governor of Florida, has already issued a state of emergency because of this system. I have no words on evacuations as of now. If anyone has... like I said, if anyone has any information on evacuation orders, let me know, because I have not heard anything about that. I really haven't heard much about that, but I have heard actually about the, obviously the state of emergencies that we do have in place here. So that is kind of what we are actively seeing here. Let's go ahead and see here. Edward says, I have always streamed to my main system with party speaker. Fantastic coverage always. Well, Edward, once again, thank you so much for all your support. You absolutely rock. Yeah, like I said, if you guys are wondering why I'm wearing these glasses, one, they're cool. I love these glasses. I just recently got them. And two, they actually help with glare, on the computer screen. Obviously, like I said, if you stare at a computer screen for a long time, it really gets to your eyes. It starts burning your eyes and stuff like that. But yeah, it's honestly not as bad when I have these glasses on, and honestly, it makes things look a lot better. So that's if you guys are wondering why I have that there. But that is what we are talking about here. Let's see, Max, being a kid here, obviously trying to say some, Max is definitely the class clown here today. So Max, obviously, first of all, thank you for joining us for today. And obviously, unfortunately, there is going to be some ticked off people in the world for whatever reasons. And you know what? Hey, you know what? Who cares? Who cares what everyone says? So obviously, Max, thank you for joining us, though. Regardless of what you have to say or not, it still won't affect my future paths or anything like that. So you're literally doing nothing. So hope you know that. Well, thank you for joining us there, Max, though. Glad to have you here. Let's see here. A smart move, cutting the glare. Absolutely. Yeah, Julie, absolutely. This is, definitely really does help a lot. Absolutely. Let's see here. Edward, joining the Tropical Stormer Club. Edward, for all your support, thank you so much. That is obviously greatly appreciated. Thank you, seriously. Edward, like I said, you've given so much. You've given so much to our channel today. I mean, all of you guys, thank you. Even just for being here and hanging out with us, obviously, thank you so much. And really, greatly appreciated. Let's see here. Governor said that the track of uncertainty is too high for evacuation orders. Gotcha. Yeah, that does make sense. That really does make sense. Now, obviously, once we do see that start to narrow in, that's likely when those evacuation orders, or evacuation orders, will start to actually come into play there. So, absolutely. Let's see. Time to Kill says, evening from Falcon, Colorado. Glad to have you here. Hope you're doing all right. Please stay safe out there, my friends. So, anyways, we're going to move on back here to the models, guys. We're kind of hanging around here on one subject for a little too long. We're going to switch over now to the HMON model in regard to impacts. Like I said, obviously that is kind of here. Walking Woods, thank you so much again for the super chat. Really appreciate it. You guys absolutely rock. Thank you so much for that. Big shout out. Let's see here. How is Ian's eye holding up? So Ian has not developed an eye yet. The center of the storm is currently a convective burst. Like you see it right now. Hey, latest scans here. You see that massive thunderstorm activity, that big old burst of thunderstorm activity across the center. That is a obviously a convective burst, and that's going to really cause the system to rapidly strengthen. Once again, thank you so much, Walking Woods. Really appreciate it. But like I said, that's kind of what's going on there. But anyways, we're going to move on back here, like I said, to the models, like I said, in regard to things. So the last one we looked at was the HWRF model. This is the HMON, so this is obviously, a different model we're going to be looking at here. So as we track our way down here in time, obviously this system will move its way here to, across portions of western Cuba. This is going to be causing some pretty nasty impacts for portions here of western Cuba, in which obviously there is currently hurricane warnings. that is in effect here as of now. So that is what we are talking about. There is hurricane warnings in effect for portions of Cuba. Now, according to the National Hurricane Center, as we did see before, this system is expected to be a Category 3 hurricane here on landfall. Now, we can obviously expect a lot of impacts in regard to that. Hurricane conditions expected. I mean, there's obviously many factors when it comes to hurricanes. Storm surges, flooding in general, tons of rainfall, very heavy winds. You name it. There's endless things in regard to impacts with hurricanes. Now, as we track our way down here in time, now this in particular model kind of shows what the HWRF model had to show as well, which is actually kind of, talking about. So that is kind of what we are talking about here. But that's what we are looking at this here. But yeah, we are so obviously going to watch out for it. I mean, we're kind of expected to see, those conditions really start to play out here. According to this model, for, like I said, obviously the main expected feelings, or obviously the main feelings of this system is expected here from Wednesday into Thursday. Okay, obviously across portions here of Florida. So that is what we're looking at here. Let's go and see. Storm Center, you can obviously see that stacking this here. Like I said, there's a good example of those vertical stacked plates I was talking about. You can see right here on the left-hand side. And obviously if it runs in a wind shear, you can see how, this really doesn't show it too much, but this whole stack right here would actually go sideways, obviously because the winds are pushing against the side, which that's not good for the storms, and that would cause it to rapidly weaken. But right now, does not seem to be a concern with this model. The more east it moves, the more it's going to be moving out of that wind shear. So that is what we are talking about. So that is kind of what we are seeing. So once again, that's a new model we just looked at. The next one we have here is Ian. Obviously, we've been looking at Ian. The next one we have is HAFS. So that's something we are definitely going to look at here. So we're going to go ahead and switch here to the 12Z run. The latest one's not really done, kicking off here right now. But we track away time. Obviously, this model is showing rapid weakening. This shows from 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. showing up to 8. Yeah, around 992 millibars. Honestly, that's actually quite accurate. That really is quite accurate here. So far, it's so good. This system is expected... Okay, now this one actually has it going more inland towards portions here of western Cuba. Still kind of showing around that Category 3 realm according to pressure. But that is something we're watching here. Let's see. Crystal says, I got to go. Talk to you later. Well, thank you so much for the support, Crystal. And thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Absolutely, greatly much appreciated. Let's go ahead and see your boat. Let's see. I was born and raised in Jersey, Burlington City, says Jersey Devil. I couldn't tell by your name, but I'm just kidding. But obviously, obviously glad to have you here, guys. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Walking the Woods says thank you. Obviously, thank you guys for all your support. You guys are the best. Now, like I said, as we track our way down here in time, obviously as we continue to move here, now this model has a little bit more different, as you can actually tell. The HAFS model kind of has it hitting south of Tampa. Now, that's obviously a lot different than compared to what the other models were actually showing there. Now, if we take a look here at the overall, the winds here, you can see how, that's going to be battering against the side. Has it kind of crossing through like Orlando. And then maybe it could. I wouldn't say it will. I'd say if this does play out, depending on the shape that this system is in and the overall structure of that lower level wind field, I would say that it would definitely be a possibility of obviously, this thing could maybe redevelop here, but that's still way in the far range. I'm not going to talk about that really. That's not for sure. That's not for sure. Like I said, we just got to wait till it gets through Cuba. We got to wait till it gets near Cuba before we can talk more about those areas. But like I said, obviously, this model shows it happening just south of Tampa. So that is indeed what we are watching here. But anyway, so in regard to the latest information, my friends, with the latest hurricane models, are these different models? Yep, they are. So the latest hurricane models have actually ran here, and you can see how a lot of the trends have been a lot more east here. Even in the last runs, actually a little bit more to the east here, as you can see. There is a little bit, there's still obviously a bit of disagreement going on here. Let's go ahead and switch back to my main screen, that way you guys can see a little better. But like I was saying here, honestly, there is a little bit more agreement. Obviously, there's still a decent amount of disagreement right off the coast of Florida here, but you can see some of them go just south of Tampa, and some of them just go right here towards the Panhandle. So, based off of the latest models here, in regard to the latest hurricane models, it's kind of showing, obviously, a more easterly trend at this point. Obviously, the models are kind of shifting more of an easterly landfall here. So, with that being said, as you can see, a lot of the majority of the models really kind of exist right in here. And that kind of looks like the possible zone of where the center of the storm could track into. Now, obviously, this can still, obviously, like I said, this can still definitely change here. This can obviously, still definitely change here. But still, it's going to need watched out for. Obviously, this thing is going to first cause some issues here for Western Cuba, then move its way into Florida. Now, obviously, the spaghetti models have this thing going up in the States, but don't worry about that right now. As this does get closer, we'll have more information on that, because right now, we just don't have enough information for areas here just down the line across, like, Georgia, the Carolinas. We don't have enough information for that right now. So, but that's still a subject to follow, okay? But that is what we're talking about. See, I don't know if I've ever seen as much of an uncertainty with one storm before. I've seen a lot worse before. You'd honestly be surprised. I've actually seen it a lot worse before. And honestly, like I said, hereby later on tomorrow, I mean, we should have this cone narrowed down quite a bit tomorrow. Absolutely. We really, really should. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on there, guys. That is indeed what we are talking about. Let's go and see. So this is the latest satellite imagery here of Ian. Obviously, you can see, so we're going to let this thing load here for a second. You can obviously see tons of convection. That circulation really kicks off. And in the latest scans, you can see right now, a lot of convection starts to kind of pop back up here again. So with that being said, yeah, the system is definitely really starting to intensify here, in which that is definitely what we're talking about. Let's see. Julie says, "I remember your name, Julie. I know it's spelled July, but Julie, I remember you." Let's go ahead and see here. Just cover the whole projected path of the storm with prayers. Absolutely. Let's see here. Walking once another super chat. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it, my friends. You guys are the best. Thank you all so much for all your support. Big shout out. Obviously, we're gonna do this here really quickly. So everyone, big thanks. Give a big thanks to A Walk in the Woods, obviously to Edward here as well. Once again, thank you so much for that. Edward, once again. Self-Care, Scott Clark, obviously. Crystal Miller as well. Proxy, of course. We also have ourselves, just going to try to scroll down through here. Also Spencer, thank you all so much for that. All your guys, very, very generous support. You guys are the best. Thank you so much, and you guys are seriously greatly appreciated. And like I said, obviously, we're going to be here for you. We're going to continue giving you guys coverage and stuff like that. Like I said, I want to be here for you all and keep you all informed here. But like I was saying, on the latest satellite imagery here, I'm actually on the wrong scene. I'm just now noticing. Let's go ahead and switch on back here to the main screen. But like I said, obviously with the satellite imagery here, the latest satellite imagery, we are still seeing a lot of that convection really starting to kick back up. So honestly, as of now, I mean, from the Hurricane Hunter aircraft, obviously and stuff like that, the Hurricane Hunter aircraft reports and everything like that, we are now under rapid intensification of the system. So that's what we're looking at here. Edward with another one too. Edward, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. You absolutely rock, my friend. Thank you so much for that. It's greatly appreciated. Let's see. Jenny says, thank you all for being here and keeping the chat cool and intelligent. Absolutely. Jenny, thank you for being here for the mods and stuff like that. Obviously, a big shout out goes to our mods as well. Obviously, you guys are helping us out and stuff like that. Greatly appreciate it. You guys rock. Absolutely. And it's I'm definitely glad to have you guys here. So, but anyway, so like I said, here's the latest cone in regards to intensity. Like I said, this thing is expected to become a Category 4 storm here. Now, like I said, okay, so here's the thing. So the cone of uncertainty still is quite large. Like I said, the center of the storm, like I said, obviously, the center of the storm could definitely track their way, anywhere inside the cone here, the center, the eye of the storm. This is not where the projected feelings of the storm would be. This is where the center of the storm could actually be here. So that is what we are talking about. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Like I said, I mean, this thing still could make landfall towards, like, Cape Coral, towards Tampa, more up north, like Cedar Creek, I should say, Panama City. I mean, like I said, the possibility, I mean, like I said, the possibilities of this system ending up somewhere around in here is, obviously, that's kind of as expected. So, but outside of it is not really expected. So the cone of uncertainty, this is the region where we are seeing basically where we think that the eye is going to be crossing into. We still don't have that pinpointed as of now, but we are obviously going to give you guys updates and stuff. So, alright guys, I think actually we're going to head off here for now. I just want to give you guys a little bit of an update here. So obviously thank you all so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. You all absolutely rock. You guys are the best. Once again, before we head off here, I want to go ahead and give another list here of a big thank you. Obviously to our supporters here for today. So first of all, Proxy, thank you so much for your support with the many donations you've given us here. Spencer, you as well, thank you so much. Scott as well, Scott Clark, thank you so much. Edward, you as well, man, thank you so much for that. We also had Crystal Miller. I know you head off here, but thank you so much, Crystal, if you are somehow still here. Greatly appreciated. You absolutely rock, my friend. I mean, really, all of you guys. Walk in the Woods as well. I mean, seriously, you guys, thank you absolutely so much for all your support. You guys, it seriously does mean a lot to me. It really does. And like I said, tomorrow it's on the table. We don't have any severe weather coverage going on tomorrow, so we're not going to need to do any of that. Tomorrow, what I'm probably going to end up doing is a video in the morning. Okay, we're probably going to do a video sometime in the morning, afternoon on the Tropics update. And then we're going to do a live stream at nighttime, kind of like around the same time, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, kind of what we're doing here right now, giving information. Now, we are planning to do some coverage, actually. Like I said, obviously, like I said, we are planning to do some coverage here for portions of Cuba, so that's what we're talking about here. So, but anyways, that is we are talking about. So, like I said, obviously that is we are going to talk about. We're obviously going to be doing some coverage here when it does come. So, but once again, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You all absolutely rock. Let's hear Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel is in Clearwater Beach. Wow, really? Yeah, not surprising. Also, I know Reed Timmer's definitely. Preparing for this here as well. Definitely is really appreciated. Let's go ahead and see here. But once again, guys, thank you all for joining us here for today. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night. Once again, big shout out goes to you guys. Thank you all for your support. You all absolutely rock. So, heading off here for tonight, my friends. Take care. If you have any more questions, feel free to join our Discord and obviously stuff like that down below. And obviously, like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We got you guys covered. Thank you all so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Once again, thank you all so much for all your support. And we're going to head off here in 5 minutes, giving you guys one last chance to say goodbye to your friends and family here in the chats. So, starting right now. Anyways, my friends, catch you all here for tomorrow. Thank you once again for all your support. Edward with another donation. Thank you so much, Edward. Greatly appreciated. You absolutely rock. So, Edward, big shout out goes to you as well. I mean, all of you guys, thank you so much for even just for being here. You guys are the best. All right, my friends, that's going to do it for you for tonight. Catch you guys here for tomorrow's update video as well as the severe weather stream. Alrighty, guys, thank you all for being here. Greatly appreciated. Peace out, y'all.
Seas 2 to 4 feet. Isolated thunderstorms. Widespread showers. Tuesday night, hurricane conditions possible. Northeast winds 20 to 25 knots with gusts up to 40 knots, becoming east 25 to 35 knots with gusts up to 50 knots after midnight. Seas 4 to 6 feet, building to 8 to 11 feet after midnight. Widespread showers with isolated thunderstorms. Wednesday, hurricane conditions possible. Wednesday night, hurricane conditions possible. Thursday, hurricane conditions possible. Thursday night, hurricane conditions possible. Friday, west winds 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 20 knots. Seas 8 to 11 feet, subsiding to 6 to 8 feet in the afternoon. Scattered showers with isolated thunderstorms. Winds and seas higher and near thunderstorms. Your coastal waters forecast for the following marine location: coastal waters from Tarpon Springs to Swanee River out 20 nautical miles. Issued at 8:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Tonight, north winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming east after midnight. Seas 1 foot or less. Bay and inland waters light chop. Isolated showers and thunderstorms early this evening. Monday, northeast winds around 5 knots, becoming northwest around 5 knots in the afternoon. Seas 1 foot or less. Bay and inland waters smooth. Isolated showers and thunderstorms early in the afternoon. Scattered showers with isolated thunderstorms late. Monday night, north winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming east after midnight. Seas 1 foot or less. Bay and inland waters light chop. Isolated thunderstorms. Tuesday, east winds 5 to 10 knots, increasing to 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 20 knots in the afternoon. Seas 1 foot or less, then around 2 feet in the afternoon. Bay and inland waters a moderate chop. Scattered showers with isolated thunderstorms. Tuesday night, tropical storm conditions possible. Northeast winds 15 to 20 knots, increasing to 20 to 25 knots after midnight. Gusts up to 35 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Bay and inland waters rough. Numerous showers with isolated thunderstorms. Wednesday, hurricane conditions possible. Wednesday night, hurricane conditions possible. Thursday, hurricane conditions possible. Thursday night, hurricane conditions possible. Friday, southwest winds 35 to 40 knots with gusts up to 55 knots, becoming west 10 to 15 knots with gusts up to 20 knots in the afternoon. Seas 5 to 7 feet, subsiding to 2 to 4 feet in the afternoon. Bay and inland waters extremely rough. Isolated thunderstorms. Scattered showers in the morning, then numerous showers in the afternoon. Winds and seas higher in and near thunderstorms Eastern Daylight Time. Tonight, northeast winds 5 to 10 knots. Seas 1 foot or less. Monday, northeast winds 5 to 10 knots. Seas 1 foot or less. Isolated showers and thunderstorms in the late morning and afternoon. Monday night, north winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming east after midnight. Seas 1 foot or less. Isolated thunderstorms. Isolated showers early in the evening, then scattered showers in the late evening and overnight. Tuesday, east winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming northeast 15 to 20 knots in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Scattered showers with isolated thunderstorms. Tuesday night, tropical storm conditions possible. Northeast winds 20 to 25 knots. Gusts up to 40 knots after midnight. Seas 2 to 4 feet, building to 4 to 6 feet after midnight. Numerous showers with isolated thunderstorms. Wednesday, hurricane conditions possible. Wednesday night, hurricane conditions possible. Thursday, hurricane conditions possible.